Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Ms. Padmavati and Ms. Vandana, for your time for being available for this podcast. We for being available to offer your thoughts on inclusive education for Viksit Bharat.
Okay.
So I'd like to give some introduction to the audience, before we begin. So we have with us Ms. Padmavati Banda with us, who is a vice principal of a reputed school. She has over 24 years of experience in teaching and as an educator. Apart from that, she also has experience in, developing new policies for education and also giving policy recommendations in her role, in her current role. To CBSE and other educational institutions. Apart from her role as a teacher, she is also an advocate of enabling education for all children. She coordinates efforts with NGOs and other stakeholders to ensure that children get the necessary education. So that's Ms. Padmavati Banda. Thank you, ma'am, for joining with us.
Thank you so
Uh,
much, Rajiv. It's a nice, to be here with you. And
Thank
we
you.
will be talking, as you said, you will be talking with inclusive education. I'm really pleasure to have you here.
Sure, ma'am. The other panelist we have with us is Ms. Vandana Sangle, who also is an educator with experience of over 18 years. In her early career, she has worked in underprivileged schools. Recently, she is also a senior faculty in one of the reputed schools and also has experience as a coordinator for middle school. Apart from being a teacher, she also has experience in implementing various policies by CBSE to enable inclusive education for everyone. And beyond her role as a teacher, she also happens to be my mother and also has experience as a parent, of a child with special needs and how it is important for us to have inclusive education for all, specifically for the children with special needs. So excited to hear from Miss Vandana also. Thank you for being here. And
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so
yeah.
much, Raju.
Yeah. So I think we can begin. So first, I would like to open with some thoughts from you. First, Ms. Padmavati,
Yes.
what do you think? What is inclusive education according to you, and why do you think it is necessary in our country to have inclusive education for the Viksit Bharat?
All right. So, Rajiv, my opinion is inclusive education is a approach. It's an approach of teaching methodology where we need to include every child. Inclusive means what? It's inclusive for every child, admitting every child into the academic system where I feel that every child should feel safe, secure, and the diversity, whatever they have, diverse learning need they have, it has to be acceptable. And the curriculum, the co-curricular activities, different type of assessment, it has to be, it is the teachers need to be, or educators need to be cater their own needs. And children should feel, every child should feel that school education institution need to welcome them. It should be safe environment, happy environment, learning environment with happiness, I feel so. And inclusive education is education for all, irrespective of their background, irrespective of their religion, irrespective of their ability, disability. Inclusive means, I think, involving everyone to the strata of education. So this is what I feel inclusive education. Looking at their ability, disability, we need to give the opportunity. I feel
Yes.
inclusive education is majorly on that. And your second part of the question was, what
Why
is
do you think
required?
it is important? Yeah,
Why it is
for the Viksit
required?
Bharat. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So nowadays it's a it is more awareness is there nowadays. Before, during our generation, of course, there were inclusive people, children were there with diversity of learning, but hardly many of them talked about. But now inclusive education is very much required. Now the awareness to some extent has come to academic department, to the
Yeah.
education field.
Yeah.
And I feel now it's very much necessary, because a lot of disability, a lot of ability children we can visualize now. So I
Yes.
think this is very important now for the educator to take over.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. So, yeah, Miss Vandana, same question to you also. What is inclusive education according to you, and why do you think it is important for Viksit Bharat?
Yeah, inclusive education means include everybody, regardless of the, as Padmavati ma'am has already emphasizes on that, ki regardless of their background, their financial conditions, regardless of their disabilities as well, learning disabilities or physical disabilities as well. So everybody should get an opportunity to
Opportunity.
study with the regular school. They should not be enrolled in the special schools and all. They should
Mm.
also get opportunity to be with the normal students, and as per their needs the facilities need to be provided to them, and then school need to, as the I have, as like you have introduced me, like I have worked somewhere 25 years ago in
Mm.
underprivileged school, the Jilla Parishad school, state board school in Thane district. So there I have seen that the students, those from the very poor background, the parents are
Yeah.
working as a farmer, and then kids, even kids were working in a brick making, small field industries and all, the crackers making factories and all. So those type of background, but now we can see that the scenario has been
Accepted.
changed
Mm.
by Viksit Bharat. So the government is thinking about more and more for the inclusion. That is a good part, which I have experienced through my journey as well. Like right now, I'm where I'm working as a section coordinator in school. So we can see that in our school that we have a strong counselors, special educators, those who are taking
Mm.
care of the kids, their needs, and they are proper in collaboration with the teachers, students, and the students, teachers, and the parents as well.
Parents as well. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
And
So,
yeah,
even I
and
feel,
why it is
Raji.
important?
Mm.
Like you said, that I, being a mother of child with a special need, that they are nowhere less than the normal kids and all. They are capable of all the things and all. Only the thing is that their needs need to be fulfilled, and they should get the opportunity. They can do wonder. That is my experience.
yeah.
And I feel
Thank you, Miss
to add
Vandana.
with Vandana, Rajiv, I
Yeah,
feel like emotionally balanced they should be. We need to keep them emotionally balanced.
right, right.
That is another major part which I feel government is completely working on health and well-being.
Right, right. So
So
very
emotional
interesting because
balance
that was the
is
next
also
point I was
important.
coming to. Like, what are the interventions that are there nowadays? Policy interventions to ensure not just education but also well-being and overall well-being and of a child and development of a child. So along those lines, what in your experience are the current policies? We everyone knows that there's a national education policy that was brought in
Mhm.
2020. So under that, and also what is the updated scenario that enables inclusive education not just for students say with disabilities but also students from other social
Background.
economic backgrounds, people, how is RT working in your scenario, and not just people at the margins but also people, let's say with special abilities, let's say if someone, people, they're also not gifted children nowadays, some
Mhm.
children might even need special attention. So yeah, would love to hear from you, like in your experience, what are the current policy measures that our country has, and how do you find it? Yeah.
Yeah, so Rajiv, I feel national education policy has a great to say about, and there is a lot of scope nowadays.
Okay.
So basically, when we go to an NEP, NCF policies, it talks about foundation course 5+3+3+4. So that talks about taking care of right from foundation course to preparatory and then middle and then secondary. So those NEP has already guideline is
Mhm.
being given to us. And
Mhm.
every educator, I feel NEP, it has a great scope. NEP has to be learned properly and should be practiced well. Otherwise, it will be on the book only. Implementation has to be there. To some
Right.
extent, in our school, what we do, example I'm giving you so that it will be too much clear for all of us. The
Yes.
thing is that what we do have in our scenario in our school, we have a number of, no doubt, every school have a different type of learner, and every school have a lot of number of children. So in our school, being a government, they have mandatory, it is made mandatory by the state government, that RTE, right to education. According to that, every school, every private school and government school has to take 25% of their first standard. The first standard strength in grade 1, whatever the strength will be there, with that 25% of students need to be admitted under RT. Okay. In many schools, I feel that they are not into that mood to take the children.
Enroll those
Under RT.
students as per the norms. Yeah.
Yeah. Because their social background, their social emotional background is different. Their finance is different. Their, the pattern is different. So many of the school, they go behind to take under RT children. And this is a good part by government that they made it compulsory now.
Right.
The other part
Yeah,
of the
correct,
picture
yeah.
is, the other part of the picture is like some of the school, they declare themselves as a minority. So in that case, what happens, in the society, those school, those who are really legally working, those school are getting RT children. Minority children are being skipped out. This is a big difficulty. No doubt, government is doing very good, but then there are the gaps, to talk about. Now,
Okay,
when the
yeah.
RT children comes under, there is a process. So, yeah, many of the school also do one thing. They make it a different division for them, which is not proper. This is not inclusive then in that case. In our academic, in our education, what we do in our school, we take the children, of course, the 25% of the children. Now it has been increased to 30% as well in some of the school. So we merge the children. We never keep them
Yeah,
exclusively out.
Right.
Okay,
correct,
so we
yeah.
merge the children, and in first standard, we do bridge course to them.
Right. Right.
Okay, because they are directly admitted in first standard, so
Yeah.
there is no pre-education,
Right.
pre-primary education. I mean to say the kindergarten.
Yeah.
So that's a bit difficult for them to cope up with those, the syllabus with the
Yeah.
curriculum.
Yeah.
So we do the bridge course for 2 to 3 months. After that, of course, after that we merge them to the different classes, five children in every division. So
Right.
this is what a pattern the school has to do nowadays. There is a lot of opportunity to take these children and to, like, to
Right.
consider these children into it.
Right.
So there is a lot of opportunity. Apart from that, we do have dyslexia, dysgraphia.
Mhm.
I mean to say physically challenged,
Dyscalculia, yeah. Learning
But yeah,
disabilities
before
among the students.
autism.
Yeah, correct,
before
yeah.
before I move on to those part, like I would like to highlight that it's very interesting, what you mentioned, that policy on paper, like even what we are taught as policy analysts, like if a policy is not, it doesn't get successful, then it's a policy failure, right? So it is
Yes.
important that it doesn't just stay on the paper, and it's interesting to see that how schools have to actually put in the efforts to ensure that this happens. Like as you said, like some people might find loopholes by making a separate division, or not really engaging with the students, and that is where I think there are some policy gaps also, as you mentioned. And schools, educators like you are taking up a job to ensure that the implementation happens, but
Yes.
there really needs to be more that needs to be done to enforce it or enable that
Yeah,
integration.
I think
Yeah.
mechanism has to be developed.
Right. Right.
Correct,
A
yeah.
proper monitoring mechanism has to be there.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Mandatory is
Yes.
there, of course, but mechanism has to be very, very clear.
Right. Right.
And it has to be strict
Parallelly,
rather.
Rajiv, one more
Yeah.
thing I would like to add on, like inclusive means that the needs are different.
Right.
Like for them, different curriculum, as ma'am already this mentioned, that different paper pattern as well, different separate extra learning as per their
Learning.
identification, and then as per their need, the teaching strategies need to be different.
Right.
So, wherein special educator and counselors are playing a great role
Vital
in
role,
this.
yeah.
And then
Mhm.
many school I have seen that wherein number of students are more, but they don't have a sufficient number of counselors. So
Mhm.
this is also one of the area which need
Right.
to look into work on by all the stakeholders.
Right. 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 So
Even I
on
feel
the
parents has to be made aware of it,
right.
Rajiv.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
correct. Yeah.
many of
Yeah,
the,
further, yeah,
they
his
don't.
next point
Uh,
might be that here only. Yeah.
Right.
so
Exactly.
parents has to make an aware, because there are of course in India this is a practice that they don't accept such children
Right. Right. Right.
in their
Hmm.
home
Right.
environment.
Yeah.
They
Right.
ask them to be go to the some orphanage.
Right. Exactly.
So
Like
we always, being an educator, we feel very bad about it. Like
right.
why their treatment has to be like this?
Right.
The
No,
child has all the opportunity to do. So that should not be
exactly.
the treatment.
Right. Right.
Rather, we need
And
to have boost up them.
exactly, like the stakeholder is not just the government, who makes the policies, but also the society.
Even
Yeah,
parents are also a part
Parents
of that. Yeah,
has
the
correct.
to be.
Yeah.
change also has to come from the society and not just from the
Mm.
government. So that's very true.
Mm.
Miss Vanna, I would like to hear from you. Like, what are some other aspects of inclusive education for children with special needs? What are the current policies? What are the current accommodations that you implement? In your role as educators under the
Yeah,
current.
as I was as ma'am has mentioned over there, ki parents are not willing to label their child as a children with special need, and they are hesitate to accept the fact as well. So
Right.
we
Mm.
need to convince them by intervening with the cooperation with the counselor as well. And then there are certain the government hospitals are recommended 7 to 18 somewhere the list is there wherein they are identified as a learning disability or physical disability, and these kids are getting support in their board examination as well, and which
Correct.
is really good and which is their need as well,
Mhm.
because they need some extra time as well, different setting arrangement as well. So few kids need if they are learning disabilities, then scribes is needed. So school along with the parents, and it's a collaborative work. So, and then we need to plan out all the things so that these kids will be getting the opportunities as per their needs, and which is benefited for them for the future as well. So there are few policies which school should be aware, and they should inform parents as well accordingly.
Yes.
Then as per the NEP, there is new this technology also here, that as per
Mm.
the 21st century. So we need to use technology as well. So if child is visually impaired, so we can use the braille related things as well, wherein they
Yes.
need extra technology help, will help them to learn more in a proper way and easy way.
I see.
Then there is a Prashasta app introduced by
Yes.
NCERT.
Mhm.
Under that, it's a mobile app. So identification is happening. The screening of the students is done by, there are few parameters, and up under that parameters, the school need to enroll students. And then there's in second step, there is a checklist. So
I
if
see.
child teacher has observed that child is having certain learning disabilities or physical disabilities or any other observations, so
Mhm.
as per the checklist, they are marking, and then special educator and the counselors will be
Mhm.
working on that. And then that is a good initiative
Yeah.
taken by the government,
I see.
wherein it is the centralized work.
Mm.
So till
Mm.
now,
Mhm.
only school used to work separately on the
I
different part.
see.
So by
I see.
doing this app, and if they are making it compulsory for all the schools, so
Okay.
it's good data will be compiled
Yeah.
Mhm.
for the government as well, for NCRT as well, and they will get a clear idea that how many
Right.
students are falling under these categories,
I
and then
see.
accordingly they can frame their pathway as well, the new policies as well, which will
Mm.
be really benefited for these kids.
Interesting. Interesting, that you brought in how these technological interventions are also,
And
helping. Padmavati ma'am, do you have something to
yeah,
add on? Yeah.
yeah. I think add on to Vandana ma'am, I feel even technology can do a great job for such children. Like for example, now NCRT has also started, CBSE normally has started O Labs.
Mhm.
All right. So O Labs is a virtual experiment lab.
Okay.
So there, wherein like even rural area children can get connection. But again,
Okay.
there is an limitation. where urban area children can access this
Mhm.
OLAB very nicely, but then rural area have this problem of internet connection.
Right,
So
right.
there where government has to intervene more, I feel so. Apart
Mhm.
from that, we do have in our school lot of free apps for such
Mhm.
free
I
apps
see.
like from text to audio, text
Mhm.
to video. Then we
Mhm.
do
Correct. Yeah.
have, yeah, Microsoft Edge is there, where
Mhm.
we use children for hearing impact children also
I
using that. Then we do have tools, different type of visual tools.
Mhm.
All right, that is also free cost. The school,
Mhm.
those who are not able to afford
Right,
financially these
right.
things,
Mhm.
I mean the tools, so they can go to the tools of free app tools are there. Lot of things are there.
Right,
Virtual learning is a very much playing major role nowadays.
right, right, right.
Virtual learning, that means you can interact with and collaborate with many of the organizations where
Mhm.
children get a good advantages of it, which we are doing it,
Yeah.
and lot
Yeah,
of media
I
like.
would like to add one more point as well. Like initially, you had to talk about the gifted kids as well,
Yeah.
like the students below average and average students. So, schools are normally working on that. But what about the gifted students? Even their needs are different. Even
Mhm.
their parents need
So
to conceal.
could you
Yeah.
define gifted students for the audience? Like, explain
What
to
is
them what
exactly gifted
gifted
is
students are. Yeah.
asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So gifted, it doesn't that if any child is good at academic, it is not
Okay.
called a gifted. So
Okay.
if child is above of their age level,
Okay.
having a ability or having a skill, it's
Mhm.
no matter it's in music or dance or
Mhm.
in sports, in drawing or in
Mhm.
academic as well.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
there are certain criterias, and
Mhm.
then in our school we had done one. The we
Gifted
have
program.
trained our a few 20 to 25
Mhm.
teachers for that. That how the identification need to be done. There is also separate testing and checklist and all.
Mm,
And then after that we can identify the gifted kid as well. And then
Mhm.
even government has taken initiative for that. The government is
Okay.
also planning for the separate policy for this
Mhm.
gifted kids, so
Mhm.
that they will also be a part of the society wherein
Yeah.
they will contribute more as per their
mm.
intellectual level as well. So this
Mhm.
is also a good initiative taken by the government.
Mhm. I see. I see. Yeah. In fact, there is a nice movie named Gifted also by that very name
Yeah,
that
Yeah,
explores that
we have
topic.
watched
correct,
it, Rajiv. Yeah,
correct. Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I purposely has watched it twice, thinking that that will be a good example for us to,
Right.
because we do
Right.
have in our school such
Yeah.
kids we can
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
out,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and they
And
feel
because
depressed.
yeah,
They feel
exactly.
depressed
Right, right. Because
because
you mentioned about counselors also, many of these
mm,
children also require special
mm,
support and attention, for their other aspects of their life also, apart from what they are gifted in. So,
mm,
yeah, really, like, I mean, when we talk of inclusivity, it's really at all dimensions, not just on, how people are scoring well, but, basically enabling them, to do best to their abilities, right? So, yeah. And,
yeah, I would
uh,
like to give you an
yeah,
example that you like the
sure.
in our days when we
Yeah.
both were there in the school and all before 30 to 35 years and all. So that time parents' mindset was not there that the child can pursue their future career into
mm,
sports or into arts and into dance and all. But
Right,
nowadays it has been changed that
right.
if
mm,
is really capable and having a different level of that particular area, so now
Right,
parents do encourage kids for that as well. So
right,
like Sachin Tendulkar or
right.
Ustad Zakir Hussain and all are a great example for that.
Yeah,
are the gifted,
People
yeah.
are, yeah. So
so
really they are getting aware about all these
right,
qualities as yeah.
interesting.
The
And
the
just
the myth was like, Andana ma'am, it was like learning or earning. If you learn,
yeah,
Yeah,
then you earn,
correct. Yes,
which has
correct.
gone now. Which
right,
the change is there. There is a
yeah,
mindset change is
right,
there. This is what
yes,
today we were discussing the same thing
yeah.
in our
Correct. Yeah,
school.
yeah.
It's
Yes,
good
same.
that
But
it we're
that was
changing things.
that was during our generation. But
Right,
now
right,
I think parents are changing. The society is
right.
changing.
They are more aware, yeah, about
Yeah.
Yeah, awareness is there.
Now, Exactly. It's good that this change is happening in society. And like
Mm,
coming back to the policy and governance
mm.
aspect, like based on your experience, whatever we discussed today. Also, Padma ma'am just talked about some gaps also. What do you think are certain gaps, in enabling inclusive education? Like we discussed a lot that is happening, but there still would be a lot of
There is
room
a
for
gap.
what do you think, in your opinion? And also, what do you think are the tools that can, like we also talked a bit about technology. You mentioned about this app called Prashasta, and
Mm.
and also some other technological interventions, and how internet is kind of becoming a resource for the last mile connectivity, in ensuring that education reaches. So based on all this discussion, where do you see, what do you think are the gaps? How do you think that can be improved? Where do you think technology can be helpful to fill in these gaps? Your thoughts, ma'am? Yeah.
Yeah, first of all, I feel gap is like well prepared. Counselors easily we don't get.
Okay.
No doubt,
Okay.
counselor is must in every school because every school have diverse learner. Okay,
Mhm.
so there is a, big gap because major children are going to nowadays science, and people feel that our child
Right.
should be engineering or doctor.
Yes,
Hardly
Right.
they
input.
look into humanity.
Uh-huh.
Okay, no doubt. Science children are also moving to psychology now and pursuing their master and degree and consular degree, clinical psychology degree. So that is there. But now getting at this a huge number is a big major issue now.
Right. Right.
And if, when we have a counselor, then we go for inclusive education plan.
Right.
All
Right.
right, that is called which is called as IEP.
I see.
So,
So,
inclusive education
so
plan is
yeah,
been prepared by counselor, which because they know each and every kid very
I see.
thoroughly.
I see.
Where
So,
we
would you
be a teacher in
yeah.
a classroom, we may not be very clear about IEP, but counselor has to be there.
Right.
This is one. Rest, I feel infrastructure has to be taken care of. Where
Okay.
Vandana ma'am, the first question was, she was replying you, infrastructure has to be there as per the learner, as per the
Okay.
disability or ability. Okay.
Right.
So which is
Right.
many of the organization institution, they don't do that. I feel they
Mhm.
are interested to some extent, but somewhere there is a fund problem
Right. Right.
from the government or private sector also. Many
Right.
of management they hardly pay attention on this. Their
Mhm.
washroom has to be a bit different as per your
Right.
need,
Right.
railing, staircase
Yeah,
and all.
ramp.
Right.
Yeah.
Ramp
Right.
is there. So many things are there which has to be mandatory in our every
Right.
academic
It should
organization.
be accessible,
Then I
accessible to them.
feel, yeah, then I feel major back gap, a major gap which is really to touching sometime to my heart is teachers training has to be there.
Okay.
Correct.
Many
Yeah.
are not open, Rajiv. Many are not open to take this diverse learner.
Right.
They
Right.
are very much very traditional still. Many of population of our academicians are still in a tradition mode. They
Rigid,
don't
rigid
want to,
mindset. Yeah.
rigid mindset is there, and they don't want to adopt, diverse learning style or
Mhm.
maybe teaching style. They
Right.
don't want to because there has to be training, I feel so.
Exactly. Exactly.
Government has to make it mandatory where CBSE is going for 50 hours training nowadays.
Right.
But I feel training has to be there.
Right.
Second, I
Right.
think there is a gap of parents, as I already mentioned you. Support is lacking somewhere.
Right.
When we feel some of the child is, for example, dyslexia, dysgraphia, the child is facing problem. No doubt there is IP is there. Teachers
Mhm.
also supportive in our school, but still we don't feel parents are supportive to go for testing.
Mhm.
Yeah, we feel that they are under risk, but
Mhm.
we are not the people to test out. Okay,
Right.
there are testing agency wherein they
Right.
give us remedies. We need to react on that. We need to have that remedies so that the child will feel safe. The child will learn according
Okay.
his learning style. But I
Right.
feel that testing is not happening, and we can't force. We counsel them. We take a
Right.
session with them, but many of them don't admit labeling their child.
Right.
They may
Right.
not be accepting, and I feel then the major part of being on a head of the institution, inclusive curriculum has to be there,
Right. Right.
which many of them don't follow. Inclusive curriculum क्या होता है चलता है कर लेगा बच्चा.
Right.
So that is another, I think,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
Vandana ma'am also mentioned, inclusive evaluation pattern has to be there.
Right.
which few of the organization will be doing, including private and government schools
Right.
or
Right.
universities. But I
Yeah.
feel there is a big gap in bringing this inclusive curriculum, where
Right.
there is a holistic development for each child.
Yeah.
That is lacking, I feel so somewhere. And parents' communication engagement has to be more
Right.
from the organization, where
Mhm.
the gap will be filled up. Then I
Mhm.
feel provision has to be more by the government on this
Mhm.
matter. More
Right.
funding has to be there, short, I mean to say.
Right.
So these
Right.
are
Right.
the bigger gap which has to be filled
Mhm.
by different policies which government can bring. No doubt they have brought it as through
Right.
a lot of academic policies are imbibing now.
Right.
But major of the thing are still there is a line to go, is a path to go. I feel so.
Interesting. Yeah, thank you, Padmavati ma'am, so much for articulating it very nicely. And Vandana ma'am, do you have any closing remarks before I summarize anything beyond what Padmavati ma'am just mentioned?
For me, actually, like we just now we have just
Yes.
discussed about the within the school,
Mhm.
right? But outside the campus as well. So there need to be fulfilled there, like transportation as well. Like
Mhm.
if we could see that what are the facilities are provided for the physically disabled kids in Europe and all. So in their transportation, their buses and all. So everything it is very accessible to these kids,
Mhm.
but
Right.
here we are finding it too difficult. So traveling is very difficult for these kids as well. And
Mhm.
even as Padmavati ma'am was saying that identification, testing and all.
Mhm.
So I will share my experience that before somewhere 10 to 15 years ago, it was too difficult. But
Mhm.
now I can see that it is made more easy, that it is not only that this particular hospital does the testing and all, but now more opportunities or more options are kept open by the government. And then there is the central government site as well, the
Right.
certificate is provided, and
Mhm.
then online the card is provided. And
Mhm.
then that is good, where that is a
Right.
good initiative, but
Right.
it has to be more planning, and then the inspection has to be done, that each and
Monitoring has to
every
be more.
institute,
Right.
monitoring is important, each and every institute is following that or not. And not only the campus, outside the campus,
Right.
even society, all the
Exactly.
areas including
Right.
garden and the
Yeah.
transportation, the hospitals, everything should be accessible to
Right.
them.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And I feel, Rajiv, more awareness has to be there by youngsters now.
Exactly, exactly, and that's
Youngsters
like
has to take a lot of.
that's the most important point. Like to have awareness among the society, and you
Mm,
know what when I'm just mentioned. So of course, similarly, we are talking about inclusive education, but of course we have a Rights for Persons with Disabilities Act, which talks about all these things. It's intersection with education, not just primary, secondary, tertiary, but the beyond the undergraduate and graduate education also. So that's a whole different conversation that we can have sometime. But just summarize some points. I think as you mentioned that inclusivity, not just with regards to someone's abilities, but also with regards to their socioeconomic backgrounds. India does have a lot of policies to kind of
mm,
enable that kind of inclusion, like inclusivity, not just at the level of individuals' physical abilities, but also on other aspects based on their socioeconomic backgrounds. We do have policies such as the RTE, and and not just on paper, but in your experience, you have seen how they have evolved, and how even schools like you and educators like you are trying to ensure that those policies reach to the people and they're actually implemented in spirit and not just in writing.
Yeah.
As far as the policy gaps are concerned, I think in your experience, as you mentioned, counselors are very much required because they are the primary experts who can
yes.
identify, where people or where children, what children's needs are, and then one can think about how they can be met, and they can be different for different children, right?
Yes.
So from a
Mm,
policy objective, there needs to be, more focus on how access to counselors is ensured, for all students. And there might be challenges, and of course, it's another interesting discussion to have how, what interventions should be done, to ensure that access to counselors takes place. Infrastructure, definitely, not just physical infrastructure, but also digital infrastructure. Let's say for the visually impaired, as you said, braille, but also like you have a lot of digital services nowadays, right? I mean, and also we have international guidelines also, with regards to making web pages with a certain font, with a certain color scheme. So, and we hope that, moving forward, all this is also included into our education policies also, and not just, general aspects. And yeah, I think lastly, it is also important that as a society we need to improve. As policy analysts, it's not just important. Like the governance also includes that
Yes,
the
government
public,
has to do.
and yeah, the public also should be able to imbibe the ethos of that policy, right? So
Mhm,
along those
mhm.
lines, how do we ensure that teachers are trained to be more sensitized, towards these things, and also how parents should be able to, understand what is best for their child, and that will enable them to prosper with the skills that they have. It was really interesting to, hear from you, not just about the current policies that we have, but how it's actually being implemented, to what extent, based on your own experiences, how technological interventions are also helping to achieve some of these objectives. And we hope that, this only improves for the Viksit Bharat moving ahead. Thank you so much, Padmavati ma'am and Vandana
Thank
ma'am,
you
for
so much,
their
Raju.
offering of
It's our pleasure
yeah,
to contribute to you
yeah,
for your things.
yes,
Really, we feel great that being an educators, we are contributing in and the awareness. Basically, I feel awareness has
yes.
to be there.
Yes, we hope this reaches lots of people, so that even people get aware, from these very real on-ground experience, and we are able to create more engagement and sensitivity among people about
Yes.
the importance of this topic.
And it's our
So,
pleasure to attend this forum.
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Rajiv,
so
for
much.
inviting us. And it was really a good topic. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is needed to discuss. The more discussion should happen on this topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And brainstorming has to be there on these topics.
Yeah.
I feel
Correct. Yeah.
it's a long way to go. And of course, government is doing many things,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it has to
Yes.
be
Yes.
deep.
Yeah. Okay.
And the
Yes. Thank you
crucial.
so much. Yeah.
So thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Take care.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Good night,
Bye.
Bye.
everyone. Yeah.
Good
Bye.
night.
Yeah.
Bye.